This is actually a series. It's more like a workshop than anything else. It's not one of our dailies here at Bodyholic. We actually have a daily coming up. So if you want to join Bodyholic and do daily 18 with us, now's a good time. But we're going to be discussing core. I'm going to be on Insta Live every day for the next 5 days because it is so important. And I just want to say that it's not about the abs like it is about the core. The consequence of having a strong core is a six-pack that looks really good. But it's actually so important. Like if you're an athlete and you're lifting weights and you're an athlete and you're lifting your kids or whatever it is that you're doing, your core is the basis to everything. It's your core. it's what's connected to your spine. It's what keeps you from hunching over, from falling over. So let's spend the next 5 days understanding it and getting it right. And I even posted a picture. I'm going to blog about it on Bodyholic, and I'm going to get down to the nitty gritty. But I did just post a picture for you guys on Instagram that breaks down the core for you. So it's not just the six-pack, and I hope many of you do know that it's not just these guys, right? In fact, it gets so much deeper and so much more crucial than just the six-pack. Which is the rectus abdominis. I keep calling it the six-pack because that's what we want, right? So what we're going to start with is actually, so we're starting this 5-day series, and you can even write this down if you want. I'm going to send it to you in a blog, but we're going to have 8 basic exercises that we're going to get into right now, and I might just be building up on it a little bit so that we do get a core workout. I was going to do just a few seconds, just a few minutes here on Instagram, but I think I'm just going to keep going the way we are right now. So if you are just starting out, this is going to be what you're doing. So if you've just been through an injury, or you know that you don't have a strong core, like you just know this, or you're postpartum with a few months, okay, so you got your okay from your doctor. This is definitely what you should be doing. And then after we go through this, we're gonna go into it a little deeper and a little bit harder, which means that if you are more advanced, this will be your warm-up. And if you are just starting out, this might just be your workout for today, just to understand your core and get it fired up and starting to really work on it the way you should be for the next level up in your fitness journey. So I'm going to go ahead and put my not really towel down. And I'm going to give you an option that I really like for beginners. Anybody who's just starting out can actually place their feet up against a wall like so, okay? So I don't want to move you guys around. I want you to be able, but I want you to just imagine. I can even do this against my bookcase right here and then really show you what I mean. So you could just be doing exactly what I'm doing. Okay, I would be with, I'm just gonna do this exercise here for you so you really see what I mean. But then I'll show you my profile again. So I'm actually pressing my flexed feet against a wall or whatever it is that you're pressing it against. And then I'm going to actually avoid placing my hands at the base of my skull like we normally do. And I'm just gonna cross my arms over. So now I'm gonna, now that you understand the whole wall thing, I'm gonna do this with my profile to you. So the hands are gonna be crossed over. And this is actually because a lot of times when you're starting your core work, this position is actually painful for your neck after a few reps. So we're gonna be here, and if this is painful for your neck, then of course support it, but I would like you to kind of bring your chin to your chest and just be light with your neck, don't strain it. So legs at a 90-degree angle,
And we're coming up for a chest lift, kind of looking at the navel. So notice that I'm not straining my neck here. So if you're doing this with me, you should already have your shoulder blades up off the floor. You can, of course, just watch and kind of take notes. So this is the ab crunch that we're doing, and we're holding it up. We're lifting the shoulder blades completely off the floor, and then without moving the legs, we're going all the way back down. But the amazing thing about pressing your feet against the wall, if you're just starting out, is that you don't have to work extra hard to press your back to the floor. But if you are doing this like me, you are working extra hard. So I'm coming up again. We're going to do this just 2 more times, this and another time. And I'm coming up again. I'm holding it for about 3 long breaths. And the key is as I go down to press my back into the floor, and again I'm saying that when you press your feet against a wall, it's easier to do that. And then slowly back down. And then we're going to do that 1 more time. So we're going to go up, and then we're just going to hold for 3 long breaths, keeping your shoulders away from your ears. And if you're pressing against the wall, then just press those legs, and then slowly release. So I'm going to set my legs down, and I'm going to move a little bit side to side, just loosen it up. And because these are huge muscles, and we held our shoulder blades up, you may have actually just warmed up from that. So we're going to go ahead into a bridge, which it's the glutes, right? So the glutes, the maximus is what we're going to be working in the bridge, and this is just as important. So everything that's connected to your back, it's not just about those, the rectus abdominis, that 6-pack. And that's really what I'm trying to drive home over the next 5 days. So I turn my palms up for this. And what's important here is that you start out with your back neutral. So if you just look at me, a neutral back means that I'm not, crunching in, and I'm also not exaggerating and disconnecting it off the floor. So the start is with a neutral back, and the beginning of a bridge is with your abs. So the first thing you do is kind of crunch your abs, and then dig your heels into the floor and squeeze the butt up and hold for a count of 3. So if you're really squeezing, you're really working. And then we're going to slowly go down. And then exhale, lift. Really squeeze. And constantly when you go down, I do want you to return to a neutral spine. And then slowly release. We're going to do that just 1 more time. And we hold it for 3 breaths. And then slowly release. And then that's the second exercise, and we're just doing everything for 3 reps. So like I said, this could actually be your workout today, or it could just be your warm-up. So next up, we're going to be doing a single leg ab press. Now, what that means is I do want you to press your back into the floor, and you're going to take your right hand and your left leg, you're going to bring it up, and you're going to press your right hand into your leg and your leg into your hand. So you're creating tension. But I don't want that tension to go up to your neck, right? You shouldn't be doing that. You should just be making sure that the tension remains in your core. Press your rib cage down, flex your right foot, and you're just holding. Now, if it's too much for you to lower your leg, then absolutely just release your hand. Keep your leg as it is. But if you can, you lower both your leg and your hand, and then exhale, bring it back up, and hold the press for a count of 3. And then we slowly lower back down, and we're going to go 1 more time. Notice that the left foot is actually digging into the floor in order to keep your back safe and pressed down into the floor and stable. And then let's slowly release, and we're going to switch sides. So we're going to do the most basic right now. We're switching sides, but throughout today's session, we're actually going to build on it just a little bit, and throughout the week, we're going to build on this specific one even more. So we're slowly going to either release the hand only or the leg as well, making sure that our pelvis is nice and steady. And then again, press hand to thigh, thigh to hand. You shouldn't be pressing the actual knee, right? I don't want you on the kneecap, but pretty close to the knee. And then slowly down. Another thing that's happening here is that you're also developing your hip flexors, the iliopsoas. So the pressure you're creating with your foot, with your leg into your hand is exactly that, not only your abs. And then slowly release here. And then from here, we're going to be going side to side with our legs. So even though you're not crunching here or kind of breaking out into a sweat, this little rotation, segmental rotation, is actually really, really important. A lot of physical therapists will send their patients home, their patients with back pain, and just say, like, this is what you need to do before you go come out of bed in the morning. So we do this mid-routine. In a lot of my mindfulness strength flows, we do it mid-routine. We start off with it, we end with it. And we're just gonna do this one more time for each side. And of course, don't go so low with your legs if you're feeling like it's just not right for you. Okay, that's a constant. And then one more time. And then from here, we're gonna flip over onto all fours into a quadruped position. And here we're going to be doing the drawing and maneuver, which most of my pregnant ladies have heard me do it, have seen me do it, have heard me talk about it. We're going to place our hands directly under our shoulder blades and pull our shoulders back. And what's really important here is that everything stays steady. So nothing like this, nothing sloppy that's kind of moving around and not balanced, but we press our hands into the floor and we're solid with our shoulder blades, shoulders back. The tailbone is slightly down so that it really is continuing your spine. And then from here, we have 3 reps where we're going to take a deep breath and just let our belly kind of let it go and kind of expand. And then on the next exhale, we tighten up so much that the belly kind of is swallowed by your spine. And then again, we inhale. And then we exhale. And we hold it here, coming out of the shoulder blades. You should be tightening up your abs so much that it's kind of hard for you to now move around. You should feel solid in the quadruped position. And then one more time, inhale. And then exhale. And we just hold it here. Making sure that your tailbone is aligned with your spine. By the way, I actually am breaking out into a sweat because the core muscles, when they are so engaged, you should be getting pretty warm fast. And then from here, we're just gonna release. And if you have any wrist issues, then maybe you wanna kind of loosen up your wrists from here. And we're gonna go ahead into a modified plank on our hands, and then we're gonna do a modified plank on our knees. So first on our hands, the hands are gonna come forward. I want you to plant them, open up the fingers and plant them into the floor, and then bring the knees back a little bit. And just kind of shift your weight forward so that you're squeezing your booty and that you're really creating a straight line from your tailbone to the crown of your head. Also here, you should be coming out of the shoulder blades. You should be bringing the shoulders away from your ears. So you're in a plank, except that you're on your knees. And this whole situation here, the shoulder blades, the hands, that should be working just like you did it in the quadruped position. So you can stay here if you want, that's absolutely fine. You can move out of this position and then go onto your forearms. Or maybe you want to stay in the modified plank and then just gently, within the strong position, move onto your forearms, placing your elbows directly under the shoulders and squeezing the butt. Pull your shoulder blades back. I'm really asking even the most advanced of you to actually remain in the modified plank. So that means don't lift your knees just yet. Because we're really getting down to the basics, where it's kind of like even my most advanced athletes, like we're kind of taking a step back here and we're focusing on what is most important, which is exactly what we're doing right now. And then from here, we're going to gently release. And let's just get our knees out to the width of the mat and bring our hands forward. And just relax your head here for a moment. If this is already getting to be a lot for you, then this is definitely a point where you might want to rest. And then we're going to hop into a modified side plank, but we're actually not going to stay for a long time there because even those of you who feel like you have a weak core, very often I would want you to
at least for a second, try a full side plank. So let's get onto our forearm. It doesn't matter what side you're on. And the elbow is directly under the shoulder. And the bottom leg is going to be bent so it's bent so that the calf is really kind of supporting you. And then we're going to go up, making sure that our pelvis is looking at the wall in front of us. In terms of your neck, you might not want to look up. It might be too straining for you. That's normal. And you can just look forward or look down if you want. Ultimately, I would want you to try and kind of look up. So if this is enough and you're feeling like this is really way too much, okay, but maybe you can try and straighten the bottom leg just for a moment, just for 2 more breaths. And then 1 more, and we're going to gently release and head on over to the other side. So at this point, we're getting into the gluteus medius as well as your obliques. Okay, there's so much going on here. We're going to break it down a little bit more in the blog so that you really understand also what we're doing and also the importance. So the elbow is right under the shoulder and we're going to go right on up. And remember, that bottom leg is helping you, it's supporting you, and you need to keep pushing your way up. But if you can, just for a few breaths, you're going to straighten that bottom leg. Remember, you can always look up and kind of make it a little bit harder. You can always look forward, and if you need to, of course, look down, and that's fine. We're going to slowly release, and we're going to go through the last exercise of the most basic series I'm asking you to do. And that's going to be lying down on your belly. And then we're going to take all these exercises and really flow with them and just kind of take them up a notch into a real core workout that's a little bit more advanced, a little bit longer. And here, I very often ask people, let me just show you real quick. I very often ask people to kind of roll up a towel, like so, and then place it under the hip joints. Okay, so this is actually kind of skinny for me. Sometimes I have something a little bit more supportive, a little bigger. And that's very helpful if you have a painful back. This is very helpful for the Superman/Superwoman. So you can do that. And another thing you might want to do is actually take another towel and place it under your forehead, and that could be very helpful. So let's just go ahead, and I'm going to keep this here just so that you see me do it, because it's important, because this really will support your low back. And your forehead will be on the floor. So let's pull our shoulders back, and all you're going to do is lift your right hand and your left leg pointed, trying not to move around your pelvis. If you feel like placing your forehead on the floor is really straining, then you do need to pause and you do need to get kind of another towel for your forehead. And then let's put the right hand down and the left leg down. Keeping your abdominals tight, you're going to lift your left hand and then your right leg pointed. And then lower your hand and then your foot. And now let's maybe try to bring the right hand and the left leg up at once, keeping the abs tight, and then switch. And then switch. And switch. And we're going to do that 2 more times, making sure that the shoulders are really far away from your ears. 1 more time. And then from here, once again, we're going to push ourselves back into that stretching position with the knees as wide as the mat and the hands come on forward. Relaxing your forehead down, pushing your booty back towards your heels. So from here, let's slowly release. And if you are warming up with me, then come on onto your back once again. And if that was it for you for today, then I want you to know that this is a solid basis, and I would actually urge you to keep doing just the 3 reps for a few days, and maybe then up it to 5 reps, and take your time with it, because these 8 exercises will just cover your entire core. The only thing is you do need to lift your pelvic floor, and that's something that we're going to be talking about a little bit more. So lifting the pelvic floor is just the feeling of stopping yourself from going to the bathroom. That's what it feels like. And so it's not something I can show you. It's not something that I can see from the outside. You should be feeling that you're lifting it up throughout these 8 exercises. So we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna take what we just did up another level. So I'm gonna go ahead onto my back and I'm gonna press my legs either against the wall or just make sure that they're in a tabletop position. And my hands are gonna be at the base of my skull. The elbows are gonna be open. We're gonna change that though. So I want you constantly to slightly tilt the tailbone up a little bit and make sure you're pressing the back in towards the floor. So that's a constant if you're not pressing your feet against the wall. And we're just going up for a chest lift. So it's a chest lift and I go up looking at my navel and then back down, making sure that my legs are 90 degrees. We're gonna hold it up for a breath. It's very slow and controlled. And we're gonna go for another 7 here. Lifting the pelvic floor every time. So it's up and lift the pelvic floor. Please remember that placing the feet against the wall is very helpful for your back. So if you start to feel your back here, it might be too much. One more time and then we're going to stay here. Moving your hands across your chest. So just cross them over and keep going. Making sure that every time you go down, you are resting your head on the floor because we are aiming for full range of motion. I don't love the pulsing. We often do the pulsing within the workouts because after nearly 15 years of training people, if it's not super burning and on fire, then I get complaints. So sometimes we pulse, but the full work is really with the full range of motion. Last time, and then from here, we're gonna set one leg down, nice and gentle, and then the other, placing the hands by your side, and the palms are gonna face up. So we're gonna start with a regular bridge. Just rooting the feet down, making sure that the knees are parallel to each other. And remember what I said at the very beginning, I want your abs first, and then we come up, squeeze the butt. Inhale down, don't touch the floor, and then exhale up. So I might be touching the floor, but it's really not a rest, right? I'm just kind of tapping and then lift, squeeze. And then maybe it's just a tap and a lift, squeeze. And we're gonna keep going here, focusing on the glutes, really squeezing, really digging the heels into the floor. And we're gonna go for another 4, 3, every time I go up, I lift the pelvic floor, 2, and now let's go up for 1 more, and you can just stay like this. Or you can bring your left foot slightly to center and really plant it into the floor for the stability of your pelvis. And you can bring your right leg over the left, or maybe you even want to make it a little bit harder and bring it straight up. And we're going to lower the butt down and exhale, squeeze. So the squeeze is coming from that digging the left heel into the floor, squeeze it up. Let's keep it going, thinking about that right heel and bringing it up towards the ceiling. Up towards the ceiling. Let's go for another 3, making sure that our pelvis is stable and aligned. And then we're going to do 1 more, and you're going to hold it up and you're going to really squeeze that left booty and then slowly bring the right foot to center, reach the left leg up. And then you can, of course, bring it down, or maybe you can keep it straight up, so down over the other leg, or keep it straight up, squeezing the right booty through the right heel, and it's down and up. Without a rest when you touch the floor, it's just a tap and up, tap and up. Every time you exhale, I want you to think about the left heel aiming for the ceiling. Tightening up your abs, breathing, constant breath. 2 more. And then we have 1 more, and we're going to hold it right here. Keep your abs on. Keep digging your heel into the floor and bring your left leg to center. So we're returning the legs to parallel, and I am asking you to keep your butt up. If it's too much, of course, feel free to take a break.
But if you can, I want you to take a moment and focus on the stability of your pelvis. That's the most important right now. In other words, you're not dipping to one side or the other side, and you're making sure that you're also not here exaggerating any back bend, right? I want you to really think about a straight line from your rib cage to your knees. So just hold it here and really squeeze the booty. You might already be feeling a little bit of a fire there. And then we're slowly going to go down one vertebrae at a time. And we're going to go into the single leg press for the abs. So this is just built on what we did earlier. The right leg comes up at the same time. We press the right hand into the right leg. We're just going to do this once. So we're just pressing, really using the abs to create that pressure. So you should kind of feel like the pelvis and the rib cage want to meet, right? They just want to meet each other. And then from here, let's just gently release that hand and then place it outside of your right knee. And you're going to be digging into your obliques a little bit more here. So we're doing the same thing, except the right hand is pressing to the left and the right leg is pressing to the right. Not only are you working on your obliques, but you're also going to start feeling a little bit of the glute medius, which is absolutely part of the core, and your hip abductors. And then we release for a moment, and then again, press your back in towards the floor. Try to keep your shoulder away from your ears. And then release, and we're going to do that one more time. And then we're going to release the right hand and bring the left hand up. So we're going to apply pressure with the left hand into the right leg. So the left is going to the right and the right leg is going to the left. So we're applying that pressure. You're going to feel your obliques a little bit more here. And then release. 2 more times. Exhale into the push. And then release. Notice that I'm activating and flexing my right foot all the time. This is the last time. And release that right leg. Keep the left hand up, and let's bring that leg up. So once we just exhale and press the leg into the hand into the leg. Really feeling that pressure of and then release. Placing the left hand on the outside of the left leg, and they're just going to push against each other. So if you are moving around, I would urge you to tighten up your core even more, because I should not be able to see that you're working, right? You shouldn't be moving, because you should be pressing evenly both with the leg and the hand. And then release. 2 more times. You're going to notice that my right toes are kind of off the floor because my right foot is also working here. And then release. 1 more time. And let's release the left hand and bring the right hand up, and I'm pressing hand and thigh towards each other. And release. 2 more times. Exhale, digging your low back in towards the floor. And then 1 more time. And then gently release both the hand and the leg. And what we're going to do is the same exercise, except it's going to be called a double leg press. This might be too much for you. So in which case you can just continue with the single leg and just do the same thing with one leg. But if possible, glue your legs together, flex your feet, and press your back in towards the floor, bringing your hands up so that they're ready to go for the press. And then we exhale, bring the legs up, press your hands into your legs, press your legs into your hands. And so the whole time your low back should really want to dig into the floor. Don't let it kind of come off and then create pressure there. That's a little dangerous, so let's not do that. And then we inhale, slowly bring those heels back down, pressing your back to the floor, and then exhale, shh. So you can do this for 3 reps, but I would want you to aim for 5, which is what we're going to do now, and then slowly down. You are going to feel a little bit of your back here because your back is also working, but it should be mostly your abs. And then let's go for another 2. Flexing your feet, squeezing them together. And we're going to go for another 1. And then from here, we're going to carry on to what we just did. So we're going to bring our hands outside of the legs, and we're going to press the knees out. So let me just show you. I'm doing this with my feet together, but my knees are actually coming apart a little bit. Okay, so my feet are together, my knees are slightly coming apart. And then bring them back in. And we're going to go again. And bring them back in. All the while you are pressing your back in towards the floor. And again, let's go for one more time. And then we're going to do the same exact thing with the inner thigh. So place your hands in the inner thigh, the inner, a little above the knee. And then you exhale to press your hands towards each other with your legs. So again, I'm going to show you what's happening here. I'm creating pressure, but my hands are trying to keep my legs away from each other. And then release. And then again, press. You can actually see the struggle. And then release. And you're going to do that one more time. Pressing your back in towards the floor. And then gently release. So once again, we're going to go into the segmental rotation. So bringing the knees to one side and then the other. And take your time. So if you feel like you need to really stay on one side for a second, then do that. And only when you're ready, switch to the other side. And then from here, we're going to slowly go ahead onto all fours, onto the quadruped position. But we're going to go a little bit deeper into the challenge. Rather than just doing the drawing and maneuver, we're going to play around with our stability a little bit. So hands are going to be directly under the shoulders. And your abs are going to be super tight. Bring your shoulders away from each other. Bring them away from your ears. And let's start off with the drawing maneuver, trying to keep it going through the exercise. So we inhale, and then we exhale. Bring the navel in towards the spine and just kind of hold it there. So what you're activating also is your deep core muscles, the transverse abdominis. It's almost like you're, actually, it's literally the girdle of your core, of your spine. So pressing your hands into the floor. Maybe you can stay exactly as you are with your back and pelvis as you bring your right hand and left leg forward, or left leg is going back. Don't bring it forward. Holding your right here and coming out of that left shoulder blade. So the key is not to change anything. If I was just filming your core, I wouldn't even know that your hand and leg are raised. And we'll switch. So this is the bird dog. And if this is already too much, then I would say start over and first lift your hand and then your leg. Right? You don't have to do it simultaneously because just the simultaneous move is actually slightly more advanced. So let's go ahead and return to left hand and right leg. And if you want to take it up a notch, you're going to inhale, open up the left hand and the right leg. And then exhale, return. And remember, the key is to stay stable and neutral, because very often if I give this exercise, I see people moving around, people who are strong. And it's just a matter of awareness. So this is definitely not what I want you to do, right? We're constantly looking at the floor with our core, with our pelvis. We're going to do that one more time. And then simultaneously bringing the hand and leg down, switching. Inhale, open to the side. Exhale, close. Inhale, open to the side. Come out of that shoulder blade, that left shoulder blade that's stabilizing you. 2 more times. And we're going to go for one more time. And from here, we're going to head right into a modified plank on your forearms or a full plank. With the elbows directly under the shoulders, I think planks are the basis of pretty much everything that we do when weight training, because it activates pretty much everything. So in order for you not to just kind of fall down onto the floor, everything's working. From your shoulder blades, from your shoulders, all the way to your lats, all the way to your rectus abdominis, to your transverse abdominis, to your obliques. There's so much going on here, which is why they show up in my workouts very often. And I believe that you can just plank in a million different kinds of variations and get your six-pack easier than with crunches. You heard me. I say that with full confidence. So I challenge you to try me. I challenge you to give it a try. Get those shoulders away from your ears. Try to really stay steady. The lower your butt goes, the harder you will work. However, lowering your butt isn't that, right? We do want to create that crunch. Coming out of this, like in a pyramid, is something I want you to really, really avoid. I see that very often, which means that you might have to take breaks, and that's fine. Let's go ahead back onto the modified plank. So you're still in the work, but just put your knees down ever so slightly. You're still in the work. And you're going to bring your right hand forward just for a little tap on the floor. Come out of the left shoulder blade and then return. Left hand forward and then return. So this is really super, super slight. We're just going to go for another 2, trying to stay steady with your core and pelvis. One more time. And then we'll gently release back into that stretch with the knees match width apart, hands forward. You can place your head on one side if you want to get a little bit of a neck stretch here. And then over to the other side. And we're going to head into the side plank. So we're going to add a little work here onto the side plank, which you can of course do, like I said earlier, you can of course do this with your bottom leg bent, right? This is fine by me. Or maybe you can hop into a full side plank. Earlier in the the slightly easier, okay, the easier version, I did show you how to come out of the modified plank, but I brought the top leg forward, okay? So if possible, if you are more advanced, maybe we can put one leg over the other and then come into that side plank. So we're aiming for really a straight line from the elbow all the way up to our hand, pulling both shoulders back and pressing our pelvis up. And you might want to just stay here. And if you can, then you're going to continue with me into a leg lift, but they're going to be super slow, just 3 reps. So it's 1, 2, 3. And let's do the same thing with the arm. So it's 1 and open. 2, I'm not rotating, I'm just focusing on staying steady. Last time. And then we'll gently release onto the other side. So onto the other side with either a bottom leg bent or the top leg slightly in front of the bottom leg, or stacked. Okay, so if possible, your legs are stacked. Elbow directly under the shoulder, and then come on up. So first of all, we aim for that straight line from your hand all the way down to your elbow. And then maybe, just maybe, we can lift the leg for 3, and then slow on the way down. 2, and 1. Same thing with the hand. The hand comes forward, taps the floor, and then lifts back up. And then exhale, lift back up. One more time. And then from here, we're going to gently release and get onto our belly. So before we wrap it up for today in that superwoman/man position, remember what I said earlier. You can definitely roll up a towel and have it under your pelvis, and it will support your back. That's 1. 2, you can have the same thing for your forehead, okay? However, if you are more advanced, you can still put that towel under your pelvis. But if you are more advanced, I'm actually going to ask you to take your head and chest off of the floor.
which is completely optional. It might not work for you for today, and that's fine. Okay, you need to do what's best for you. But if possible, you're gonna have your head up and your shoulders down and away from your ears. You're gonna tighten up your abs, and we're gonna lift the right hand and left leg, and then switch, making sure that your abs are super tight. So even though you're on your belly, it doesn't mean they're not working. Exhale, lift. Exhale, lift. Maybe we can go for another 4 like this, and maybe that's enough. Or maybe you can join me and bring arms and legs off the floor and then just raise opposite arm and leg further and switch, keeping the abs tight, pulling the shoulders back for another 4, 3, 2, 1. Press your hands into the floor, push yourself back onto the quadruped position, and then exhale into a rounded back, bringing the shoulder blades away from each other. And then inhale into a chest lift and a tailbone lift. And then exhale again, round the back. And then arch your back. And then from here, we release. So that is day 1 of the core series. What I am giving you today is really something very basic that you could even incorporate to your daily routine and really get your core stronger. I promise you that this is the basis to very healthy, solid, and strong workouts. This is the basis to your six-pack. So even if it might be easy for you, don't take it lightly. I don't take it lightly. I sweat through it, and I really tighten up all the time when I do these kinds of exercises. So there you go. I hope you enjoyed, and I will see you for the second day of the core series tomorrow.